Welcome back to my workshop. Now it's nearly Christmas in 2023 and every year Mrs. Little Workshop makes Christmas crackers. Okay, now she does this by cutting out a template like this, spends hours doing it with a scalpel and scissors, and I made the fatal mistake of turning around and saying, I can do that on a laser. Okay, so the idea of this video is to show you how I quickly designed this on the computer so you can make these. Okay, let me talk you through the process. Right, so how do we make one of those? Now what we do is we take a sheet of A4. Now it doesn't matter whether it's paper or card. Now if you use really stiff card it becomes hard to roll. Okay, so you want a nice quality piece of paper or card but not too thick. Okay, for this demonstration I'm going to show you just using a piece of paper. Now obviously what we need to do is we need to cut out a lot of diamonds like this. Okay, I'll show you where and how to cut those out. Okay, and then what you do is you roll that up. Okay, and that gives you this, which is one I prepared earlier. Okay, and then all you do is you literally get a piece of ribbon, you put it around each end and it folds up like this. Okay, looks all fancy, and then you can put your cracker inside. Okay, so first of all we've got to figure out how to make the template. So let me draw you what we need. Okay, so here we are in the design studio, very high tech. We need to create this. Okay, now it's a normal standard size of A4. Okay, I'll put some dimensions on here in a moment. And all you need is these diamonds cut out, and we need probably about 9 diamonds at each end. Okay, now we need them the same distance from each end. Okay, and we need about 9 of these diamonds. Okay, that's not going to fit in now. Right, let me draw that properly. Right, now I've drawn that sort of properly. Let me put some dimensions on it so you can use this for reference. Right, so here's your approximate dimensions. Now obviously this is a sheet of A4 paper. I think they're the right sizes. So the whole length is 297 millimeters. The whole width is 210 millimeters. Now the center of these lines of diamonds, you need 75 millimeters from the end. I'll show you how to do this on Lightburn in a second. Each diamond is about 50 millimeters high and about 20 millimeters wide. And I'll show you an easy way to create those. And you've got to make sure you have 9 in each row, and make sure that there's a gap in between each of them. Okay, make sure they're not too close, because all that'll happen is your cracker will rip when you're putting it together. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll show you an easy way to create this using Lightburn software, and then it's going to be a case of just pushing the button and cutting it out on the laser. Right, so the first thing we have to do is, I'll show you on the screen now so we can do this as quick as possible. What we need to do is create our piece of paper size. Okay, so that's obviously going to be a rectangle, and from our measurements on the board there, we know that it's going to be 210 by 297. So width 210 and height 297. Okay, and that gives us our A4 size piece of paper. Okay, I'll lock that to stop me messing around with it. Okay, bring it into view. Okay, so this is our piece of paper. I'm going to leave it over one side for now. It might make it easier. Right, so what we need now is obviously we need to know our center line for our diamonds at either end. The easiest way I found to do this is to create a rectangle. Okay, another rectangle. Unlock it. Now we know the paper is 210 millimeters wide, and we need that to be 75 millimeters from the end. Okay, so we enter that. we'll lock that just to keep things simple. Okay, we select that, and if we drag that over to here, okay, and overlay it on here, we now have, okay, our 75mm line. Now we'll obviously be deleting this before we burn it, and all we do is we copy that, so Control C, and then paste it, Control V, okay, and then we can do the same at the other end. So what we have then is our two lines, or our two center lines for our diamonds. Okay, as I say, we'll be deleting that soon. Right, the diamonds. Can we make a diamond? Let's find the easiest way to make a diamond. Select square, create a square, unlock it. Now we need it to be, we'll say 50 by 50 to start with. Okay, you'll see why in a second. Lock that. And then what we want to do is rotate that to give us a diamond. Okay, so grab the corner and just rotate it. Now you can use the grid lines on the screen. If I can get closer, because I can't see very well. Use the grid lines on the screen to get your vertical. Okay, now you have a diamond, but it's obviously the wrong size. But what we can do now, unlock it. We know we need it 20 wide by 50 high. Okay, and there we have our first diamond. Now all you've got to do now is, you know, you need nine of these. So if we select that, Control C, click somewhere else, Control V, you've now got two. So you're copying and pasting. Put these next to each other, copy those, Control C, Control V, you've now got 4. Okay, you'll notice I'm leaving a little bit of a gap between each one. Make sure they're lined up. Okay, that's 4. Copy those. Control C, Control V. Okay, line those up. Now you can adjust these all afterwards, which I'll show you how to do. Now we just need one more, because obviously that's only 8. Control C, click away, Control V. So we now have our 9 diamonds. Now at this point it's probably a good idea to select them all, right click and group. Okay, so you now have your diamonds, and you know you need to place them on this line. Now make sure you leave a gap at either end, but because these are now one piece, you can actually drag, oh look, I've got more wonky, and line them up with your center line. Okay, so we've got a gap in between each, which is good. We've got 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Excellent. Okay, now just copy that. Control C, Control V. Stick those on here. Okay, so you now have your 2 sets of diamonds. And what you can do is you can now delete the guideline. Okay, not that, because that's obviously, right, that's our guideline. Delete. Delete. Okay, and that's our finished template. All right, so this time what you do is obviously save it up here. We'll save that as cracker A4. Okay, and save. Right, so what we need to do now is figure out where our piece of paper, which is this outside line, okay, so what I'll do is I'll assign that a colour. We'll say blue, because we don't need to cut that out. Okay, we want to find out where that is on the laser. Okay, so we can see now our blue line is our paper, and our black line is our diamonds. Okay, so all we need to do is position our piece of paper, which we know is A4 size, onto the, I'm going to use my honeycomb here, okay, and I use the bottom left hand corner of the honeycomb, okay, because it's got a nice convenient little lip. Okay, you don't need a honeycomb, you can use just a piece of normal baseboard. Okay, so I'll put that there. So in theory, if I can position my drawing in the right place, we should be good to go. So what I'm going to do is, looking on our screen here, this little magic button here will take the laser to a certain place on the drawing. So I'm going to go bottom left hand corner here, as close as I can, click it, and you'll see the laser has moved. Okay, I don't think that's quite, I can either now move the honeycomb or I can move my drawing. I think what I'll do is I'll move my drawing. Okay, just move that out of the way. Right, so I'm going to select everything and I'm just going to move it up. Okay, keeping it on that edge. And again, I'm going to select the location, bottom left hand corner. Okay, it moves very slowly. Okay, and what I could do now is go to where it says move on here, and I can go fire. Okay, this turns the laser on. Okay, you don't know if you can see that, but the laser is actually on here. And what I could do is, I'm quite close, and I'm going to move my baseboard so that's right on the tip. Okay, so the laser is on the tip of the paper. Now if I go to the opposite corner, so select my location, click on my opposite corner, it should take me all the way to the opposite corner. Now hopefully this is going to work. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but that's right on the corner there. So I know my paper is straight and I know it's parallel with the sides and it's parallel with the front and the back. Okay, so all I got to do now is set my cutting speed. Okay, I don't want to cut the outside, so the blue I can turn off. I'm going to leave the black on. Okay, and all I've got to do is set that to, I'll probably say about 500, and don't need it at 90 because it's only a piece of paper. We'll say 50. Okay, so 500 millimeters per minute and 50% power. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to frame it first to make sure it stays on the paper. Good. And all I've got to do is push start. Right, so now obviously that's finished its cut. We can make sure it's actually cut all the way through, which it looks like it has. Now you've done all the hard work in the design, so in theory what you can do now is just remove this. Okay, make sure you've got all of the diamonds cut out. Brush off your debris. Okay, that's the easiest way, believe me, just brush them off. Okay, then that way you don't upset the bed. Yeah. Okay, then you can just shove in another piece of paper and you can start again. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention was how to focus the laser. Now this is our AlgoLaser DIY kit. Okay, excellent little laser. Our material now is the thickness of a piece of paper, so we just want to move our laser somewhere on top of the paper. Okay, and once it's in position, you take this, which is the focusing device. Okay, you literally undo this screw, lift up the laser, slide that underneath this part here of the shield, tighten it up, and then that's focused. Okay, excellent. Let's bring that home. Right, so what do we do with this? Right, so we finally got our template cut out. Now, what do we do? Now, I won't go into too much detail with this because this is obviously dependent on what type of cracker you want. Okay, so a lot of the decoration will be done afterwards. Now, obviously, Mrs. Little Workshop will be doing all that, but I'm just showing you how these work. Okay, what you need to do is you need to roll that up so it looks like this. Okay, now the easiest thing I found is if you find something round, okay, and about the same size as you need, I just happen to have a rolling pin. Okay, this saves it creasing up, and all you do is you literally roll it up. Okay, and I find it's best if you can find something that's the right size so your diamonds actually line up. Okay, so you've got a hole all the way through, yeah? Okay, then all I do is, or all I'm going to do for this, okay, is use a bit of sellotape. Now, obviously you can put a bit of hot glue under there or super glue or something, depending on how fancy you want it. Okay, but one way or another, you've got to stick this bit of paper to this bit of paper. I'll just use a bit of sellotape for now. Okay, put a piece on here. Oh, it's a bit messy, but that'll do. Okay, and also what you want to do is put a piece on the ends here. Okay, because otherwise it goes a bit funny when you take the rolling pin out. Okay, as I say, you would normally do this with some sort of glue. Okay, then what you do is you remove whatever you've used. Now you could use a cardboard roll or anything that's round that fits and it's about the right size. Okay, so you've now got this. So what you have to do now is obviously these ends have got to crunch in. I'm just going to use a piece of ribbon here. Okay, you can use as fancy ribbon as you like. You literally tie it round the middle of these diamonds. I'll just do a knot for now because that's all I need to do. Okay, pull it tight, and then obviously you can do whatever bow you want to do here. Yeah, you get the idea. Okay, and then you put all your stuff in here, and also you can buy the little cracker pops, okay, the little strips of paper that actually go bang. Okay, so again, I'll just tie that side, pull it tight. Okay, and there you have a cracker. Okay, so now obviously you can decorate this with name plaques, so you can personalize them. You can do some more fancy bows. Okay, but that's just the basic idea of what they're going to end up looking like. Okay, so you've gone from that to that, and you started off with that just from a piece of A4 paper. Okay, so there's the stages. Fairly simple. So now you can download these templates off of the internet in various places. I won't put a copy of this on the description because half of the fun is actually designing it in the first place. Okay, now this should save Mrs. Little Workshop quite a bit of time. I've printed her off quite a few on some slightly thicker card, so she gets a much better quality of cracker. Okay, but this is just to show you it's not that difficult to make a template, burn it on the laser. I'm using the AlgoLaser DIY kit, which I'm finding to be a very good machine, using Lightburn software. And of course, now I've got the template, it's just a case of putting a piece of paper in, pushing the button. Okay, so I can produce loads with very little effort. Okay, so hopefully that was of some sort of interest to you. All we got to do now is make a load of these and get ready for Christmas. Right, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. One, two, three, have a cup of tea. So here we are over in the design studio. Let me draw out but rather than her sitting there for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I got that all wrong. Now before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the whole lot. Okay. No, what we're going to do is we're going to start that bit again.